involved in the shootout was kind of was voluntold. My dad was friends with Bob Morgan and all the guys there, and they put this thing together and needed some volunteers for the patrol boats and whatnot. And so Dad told me, hey, you need to be at Shooters at 8 o'clock in the morning and be ready to go. And well, Shooters at that point in time, you're supposed to be there like 8 o'clock at night, and that's how things went. But in this case, it was 8 o'clock in the morning, and don't be late. And so I did what most 19-year-old kids would do at that time. I grabbed some food and some bottled water and may have been a few beers and threw them in the boat and headed there to be told what I was supposed to do. And that's how it started. That was 1988, so 34 years ago.
I have so many great memories of the shootout. Back in those early days when I had that 23 Velocity, one of the first couple of runs, I pull up to the dock, and there's a gentleman standing at the dock as I pull up and shut the engine off, tie up, and this gentleman says, you know, you run that Velocity pretty good. Those old Velocities, they're tough to drive. You run pretty good. Well, I'm gonna go finish my sandwich. And the gentleman turns around, walks away, and kind of find out that was Mr. Bob Morgan. That was the first time I actually met him in person, and went on to got to know Bob really well over the years.
I do have a favorite memory. Probably the highlight for me was when Augie Busch come in one Saturday night and said, I want to talk to you about the shootout. So I said, let's go talk to the firefighters. So we did, and at the time, the firefighters we don't need somebody in the shootout. I said, well, you got to understand, they don't want to be running a shootout. They want a sponsorship. So they were still very reluctant to get involved until Augie said he'd write him a check for $100,000 to sponsor the shootout. And on top of that, he would bring the Miss Budweiser boat and entered into the shootout. So at that point, finally they, okay, we'll take your money. And in my opinion, that's what really was the turning point in the shootout, because up until that point, it was maybe a day-long race, day and a half. And every year after that, it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
First with the shootout is probably at Big Thunder. I started there back in like 98, something like that, and getting boats ready for them and doing that. And then first time participating was probably at the new location over here at Captain Ron's. And did that, don't know the year, but basically we got a ton of the boats ready between Big Thunder and our own company, Central Power.
I moved down here in 1998. I come from Texas. I was tractor pulling, and we decided to come to the state fair in Missouri, and next thing we know, we moved here. And in 2000, Bob Morgan at Big Thunder Marine hired me, and I started working for him. And I've been there for 17 years, and then me and Scott in 2001 started our own company, Central Power and Rigging, and have been there ever since, taking care of boats, and make sure everybody's happy.
My favorite memory is definitely meeting Dean Chenoweth with the Budweiser hydroplane, and I had my kids with me at that time. We got to take a picture on the boat, and they have remembered that forever, and I won't forget it either. Had my whole family there. My wife was with me, and she doesn't really do stuff like that, but she really enjoyed it too.
Absolutely, I have a favorite memory, and that's the Spirit of Cutter. How could you not like 244 miles an hour coming at you?
My favorite memory of the shootout has to be the 2014 Brad Rowland 114 mile an hour pontoon run. That was amazing.
I think the shootout is unique and special because of the sheer number of volunteers that come out for the event and help put it on.
The charities benefit, they volunteer. We got all kinds of people that volunteer and give their time. We get people that come in from out of town, and of course all the locals that donate money and make things happen. So we get to be able to donate the money back to these charities that really take and help this community so much. And there's just, when you go to a poker run, there's three events, and that's generally about the size of it. And in this case here, there's events all week long. There's something going every day, and they're big and they're exciting, and it's just a whole lot of fun.